Hi again. The second video in our Talk for Writing series of Tango Tasters is looking at how to learn the story orally. Specifically, this one's going to be about making the washing lines that you may understand about with this scheme already. So, just to give us a recap of what we're going to do in this session, the idea would be to, within the context of the sheep and the goat, retell the story to the class and get them gradually joining in, draw a simple story map to show the sequence of events, and then the children will draw their own maps. I'm going to concentrate on the first two in particular. The rest of the elements, such as map set at home, please consider doing this, and all the resources that pertain to this sheep and goat story, please go and check out on the Talk for Writing webpage as well. So, if I go to the next page, I've already set up some stuff. Specifically, I've got some examples of how other schools have done it. And don't get me wrong, I would always say if there's a chance to do something physically, to actually have kids work with crayons, with pens, with paper, with scissors, with pegs, and actually make their own physical washing line, of course that would be the best approach for this, because the more stuff people have to play with, the better it will stick in their minds. But that's not always feasible, and it might be that you actually want to take what they've done in the real world and actually import it to a digital one as well. So I'm going to scooch these out of the way for a second. I'm going to bring in the Talk for Writing PDF, the sheet that I got we were using before, and you can probably guess by seeing what's down at the bottom left of the screen already. I've cropped all this. So to crop stuff, I press and hold, I crop, I grab the paragraph that I need in specificity, and hit the tick plus. By hitting tick plus, it will bring it out of the PDF rather than just closing the whole thing down and keeping this. You just press tick. But because I've already got that already, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of these. What I want the learners to be able to do is go, okay, let's retell the story. Now I can work with them and just retell it. We can talk about them filling in the gaps. So if I stop at any point during the story, let's say, the kids could jump in and answer it back as well. Now that's a good thing to do. I would definitely recommend doing that. But once they've got through that bit, having all the different parts cropped out, if I go to the tools, no, beg your pardon, if I go to the layout and start to move all these around, either by pressing the grids, the lines, or in this case, the throw, what I want to be able to do is get them to come to the board and put this back together again. And by putting it back in the right order, again, the physical movement of placing it in the right order should make the story stick in the brains a little longer. Once they've got the idea of where all this goes, where the story starts, where the story ends, all the different bits and pieces in between, that's when we get to the washing line itself. The way I've put this together is to actually find a PNG image of a washing line and a PNG image of some pegs. I've found a background of a garden, so you searching for this is all a case of just going to Content, File and Search. Ignore the fish for now, I'll come back to that. If you want to search for garden, you're typing in garden and it will bring back images depending on how fast our internet's going at this given time. If you suffix that with a PNG, there we go, there's your gardens. If I suffix that with a PNG, now in this case garden PNG probably won't bring much back, but I had already gone for peg, PNG, and by doing that it's going to bring back pegs that I can then use to place on my washing line. And I want a number of these all the way across the washing line, and once we get to the point of that, we could do it by either having the individual elements pinned across the washing line by transporting them in, or we could just get images. So that's why you saw the fish earlier. What I do in the toy boxing videos that you've seen before is to try and create resources in such a way that allows us to store them in files in advance of sessions. So you'd be making all this stuff at home, you'd be making all this stuff away from a screen, but then when you come to make this with the learners, you know that you're going to need things like what was it, there's a cockerel, there's a sheep, there's a goat, there's wolves, all the different types of animals and all the different tools they use. Find those images as PNG forms first, store them in a folder, and then when you come to it, so for example if I go to my snow theme, I have purposefully found things like an Arctic fox, a penguin, polar bears and so on, and some backgrounds as well. If I were to bring these in, just for sake of ease, that would be when I would then move these PNG images and place them onto the washing line as we go. So I'm going to bring the penguin in the middle, I'm going to bring the Arctic fox at this side, and so on. Place them on each part of it. You could then write it, saying what each element of the washing line represents, and then send that to the board via the collaboration tool. You could just have it so that the learners stand at the board and write there as well. But remember, at this stage of the learning orally process, you don't want necessarily to get too much into the specific words. You just reminding what the learners, the story is for them. So this is a really quick and easy way to do the same sort of washing line approach that the Talk for Writing scheme suggests.